Turner, we are going to toast to you moving to Northern Michigan.
Toast to that. Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, this hits the spot because it's freezing outside.
Yes, this is a fireplace. This is so cozy.
So I'm so excited to talk to you because you're the new co-anchor of the lifestyle show, The Four, on 9 and 10 News.
Yes.
And I picked the Delamar. It's a new chic hotel because you're super chic, so I thought it was very fitting. And I want to know your first impressions of the area, Cadillac, Traverse City. Yeah, let's start there.
I mean, I grew up in Metro Detroit, so I would come up to Traverse City and Mackinac Island for vacations and things like that. But I mean, I don't think I've ever spent more than maybe 2 days up here. So immersing myself in, because of the job as well, you know, in Northern Michigan, it's been amazing. It's such a beautiful place. I mean, Petoskey is quickly becoming one of my favorite places in the world, and of course Traverse City. The people here are incredible, like the community aspect of it all. I've lived in LA and I've lived in Atlanta and these big cities, and there's nothing like Northern Michigan people. So
love to hear that.
Yeah.
So that leads to my next question is, where are you moving from and where have you lived?
Yeah, my story is a little crazy. I moved to Atlanta to work in radio at Radio 1 when I was about 21. I interned and then I got a producer's job doing the midday show. And I knew that I wanted to be a broadcast journalist, so I kind of transitioned from radio into working when web TV was starting out. This magazine called Rolling Out Magazine gave me the opportunity to move to LA and start their web stuff. So I do red carpet reporting, celebrity interviews, junkets, and things like that. So that got me to LA. So I was in Atlanta for a few years and then LA for 5 years. So
quite the big change from those two cities.
Yeah, very big change. I met some of my best friends in LA. So, you know, people always say LA is like cold and, you know, plastic and all that. You know, like if you meet a good group of people, it makes it so much better. So yeah, I loved being in LA. I worked like 4 jobs at one time, but all in the industry, so that was great. And in 2012, I was on a red carpet and was working, interviewing, and kind of blacked out. Don't really know what happened, but my lungs were collapsing because my spine was actually like collapsing my lungs because it was curved so bad.
My goodness.
And so I had to have an emergency spinal surgery. And so after that, my recovery took a while, so I ended up moving back home in Michigan. Then I had to have another back surgery in Michigan. And so I was, you know, in my mid-20s, like, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, is this it, you know? And decided to become a film critic, because I was like, what can I do from home while I'm recovering? So I started reviewing films just like on my own website.
And I read that you're a certified film critic.
Yeah, so
what does it take to become certified?
Certified really just means that you're consistent in reviewing films for either a major network or a website, that you're a part of a critics association. So I'm a part of the Atlanta Film Critics Association. I'm a part of the African American Film Critics Association. So it just means that like I get screeners and I get to vote for most of the award shows, not the Oscars, of course. And so it's been an amazing transition for me to be able to do that.
So while you're back home, you start Lauren Loves It, the website where you're reviewing TV and film. Where did this passion for film come from?
Well, when I was younger, I was in theater and I was an actress and I was in commercials and things like that. I've always loved film. I'm an only child, and one of my biggest memories in life is watching movies with my parents, which seems so like minute, but it really was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And I've always loved interviewing actors, so, you know, why not interview the directors and review their movies, and, you know, so I guess it just kind of, that's what it was.
And what what does it take to be a good film critic? Like, what are the success? Like, I'm just
I don't know,
fascinated.
because a lot of people would say I'm not a good film critic because I'm so lenient with my reviews sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's Lauren loves it, so it's like I try and find the good in every film or
that's
television show.
I like that twist.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to be a little more judgmental, but like I'm pretty sure like Leonard Maltin, who I absolutely love, would probably be like, "Girl, you are not a critic. You're just in love with movies." But I mean, I think it's just really taking the time to understand what the director is trying to accomplish and seeing like, hey, do I feel like they've accomplished that? Obviously, good script, good acting, and yeah, it doesn't even matter the budget or anything. Like, as long as you have a good script, good acting, and good audio, you're good.
Yeah. Well, I think the world needs more positivity,
Yes,
so
definitely.
I love it. Now, when you've spent, this decade in the entertainment space,
Yeah.
reporting live from MTV Awards, BET Awards, the Grammys, what were some of the highs and lows of that time in that entertainment space? Because from the outside it can look very glossy and fun, but from my own experience I know that there's a lot of hard work and preparation.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear about that chapter before 9 and 10 News.
Yeah, it was a struggle. I mean, financially, obviously. I think I moved to LA with like $500. I sold this big white van I had in Atlanta, and I sold it for like a couple hundred.
Oh my
and
God.
moved to LA. Like I said, I was really lucky to find a group of people that I just meshed with. Lamorne Morris from New Girl, who plays Winston, became one of my instant best friends, and we lived in the same building in LA. And I owe a lot of my sanity to him, and my best friend Chanel and my best friend Fallon, who are all in this industry. We struggled together. So like if one of us didn't have money, well, you know what, we're gonna pay for your food or whatever it may be, groceries. A lot of people don't have that experience, and it can be very lonely. So I'm really, really lucky that we had each other to lean on. But I mean, like I said, I was working. I think I maybe slept 3 hours a day sometimes, because you have to, like, even networking is a job out there, right? So it's like you have to go to parties just so you can meet the right person that can possibly give you the opportunity. So being in Northern Michigan is a huge change, like it's so different.
So of course I could talk about this forever, but I'm curious what you believe makes a good interview from all of your experience and background. What makes a good interview? How do you prepare? Do you get nervous?
Yeah, of course.
What's the key to a
I do
successful
get
interview?
nervous. I mean, because you wanna make an impact on the person you're interviewing and also like your audience, right? For me, obviously preparation is important, but I learn if I over prepare, then I mess up. Like I feel like when I first interviewed you, when you came on the show, I like over prepared and became like a super fan, and then I was like, wait, now I'm really nervous. So it's like,
well, now I'm worried I over prepared because I know everything about you.
But it's important, right? Because you don't want to go in anything too blind. But I mean, I have a lot of experience doing red carpets, which are, you don't know a lot about the person, and so you have to learn how to improvise and come up with. I have like a wheelhouse of kind of generic questions that can be personalized. So I think that's kind of important too. And just genuinely being you, like being yourself. Don't try and be anyone else when you're interviewing that person, because we're humans. We can tell, right? We can tell when someone's not being genuine.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have a favorite interview, and also on the flip side, like the worst interview experience?
Well,
we can swap stories. If you don't have to say who it is.
I'm not going to say the names of the people. Favorite interview was an actress and model. We were at her beach house. It was really, really chill. There were like her godkids were like running around the background, and we started talking about. And this is before the Me Too movement, but we started talking about some things that I didn't expect her to tell me about. And, we both cried, and it was just one of those moments that I'll never, ever forget. And then Also, like, my favorite person to interview ever is Taraji P. Henson. I've interviewed her several times. She's always amazing. She's always fun and exciting and just glad to be there.
Oh my gosh, that's like a dream interview.
She's awesome. She has to come on a drink with, like, I'm telling you.
Yeah, let's make that happen. Get her up north.
Yeah, we'll get her up north, show her how amazing it is. Least favorite was an actor. He's been around a long time.
Okay.
And he just was not having it. Like, he was just in a bad mood. And everything I tried, he would make a joke about. And it really defeated me. So I just but I learned from it, right? You learn from every interview you do. So, yeah.
So this actually, I want to, what have you learned from all of these experiences and this grind and this hustle that, whether it was, just from that entire 20s that you apply to today in life?
Well,
and it doesn't have to be specific to reporting, but just what did all of that teach you?
I think a big reason why I took the job in Northern Michigan is because I don't really want that grind anymore. I am all about family, and I feel like I did everything I wanted to do in my 20s. I was so lucky, and now I'm married. I'm a newlywed, and family's so important. We want kids, and I want my kids to grow up somewhere kind of like I grew up, in a community where they don't feel like they have to be, in LA and acting and singing and doing all that,
Yeah.
So as much as I wanted to get away from home, I feel like it pulled me back, and now I took it for granted how amazing Michigan is.
Yeah,
So
I feel the same. I know. I love your work ethic. Where did this drive come from?
I don't know.
Is it anyone in particular in your family, or was this just something that you were born with?
I grew up with a mom who retired from working at the post office at 40 years old, decided to go back to school, got her master's, is now an autism specialist. So I would go to classes with her when I was 5 and 6 years old. I remember sitting in her Spanish classes.
Wow.
And she just seemed like such a superwoman. And I think she never really gave me advice that I remember, but she showed me by doing. And so I think I just happened to be her in that sense, And I think my love for people and learning their stories comes from my dad. So really both of my parents, I think, is where it came
Love that.
from.
Did you ever want to give up? And what keeps you going?
Every day. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't want to give up every day, but there are a lot of days where it's just well, my husband's a veterinarian. I'm maybe I just need to quit this and be a stay-at-home mom and wash the clothes. But I know that that's not who I am, and I know that that wouldn't fulfill me. But just like any industry and any job, it can be hard, but you have to find your why. And so you just kind of not every day, but I try as much as possible to think Lauren, what's your why? Why are you doing this?
And what is your why?
And it's to, right now, for 9 and 10 News and for the 4, it's to tell people stories that get looked over sometimes. There's so many amazing veterans in Northern Michigan that have stories that we get to tell because we're all about good news, right? Positive news, overcoming things, and I can relate to those people. And if I can tell their story, that's my why.
Yeah. What is the impact you hope to make at 9 and 10 News?
Well, like I said, I definitely want to tell people's stories. I think that's so important to bring them to the forefront. And my experience of living in so many different places, from Detroit to Atlanta to even rural Georgia to LA, it's I have a different viewpoint on things and a different way of approaching questions, I think. Also, just being a woman of color in Northern Michigan or anywhere is important to bring that out and to show people representation does matter. And, I want people to maybe be impacted by that in a positive way.
Yep.
So, yeah.
How does this role challenge you? Again, I know you're just a couple of months in.
Yeah.
But do you find yourself we're all growing and evolving.
Yeah, of course.
So how has it been challenging?
I've never had a co-host before, and I hate to say challenging. It's not challenging. Right. It's just getting to know someone, and being with them every single day. But learning to know someone on air, you know, like you're getting to know this person live every day.
Oh my gosh, right.
And so we are learning so much about each other, and I think that it's a fun challenge to have. Also, like I said, my husband and I, we just got married, and we're living separately because he's working downstate and I'm living and working up here. So that's been a big challenge as well, being a newlywed and having this role. But overall, I mean, I've learned certain softwares that I didn't learn before. You know, I'm used to deadlines and I'm used to certain things, but it's a different thing. I wouldn't say challenging, it's just different.
Well, you and Xavier, your co-host, the chemistry is so good.
Really? I love that.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that you were just getting to know each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Xavier, and I think he's a big reason why it hasn't been as challenging, because he's always been there to help me kind of get through, you know, especially those first couple of weeks.
So being new to the area, how else would you describe the community?
Like the people, or just, you know, I thought that Detroit, for the most part, like, we're nice, but up here, people go above and beyond for anything and everything. Like, I was at a gas station, like, working a story, and I drove to a gas station somewhere. I don't even remember what city I was in. And the lady came from behind the counter and was like, "Oh, what are you?" I was looking for like a Red Bull or something. She's like, "You know, I like the orange one." And like, I'm like, "What are you doing?" But you know, it's just little things like that. You know, everyone is just so in tune with one another and wanting to help and wanting to be there.
So good.
Yeah.
And from the restaurants and outdoor activities and I don't know, shopping or whatever, do you have any favorites or things that? Do you have a favorite spot yet?
I love the Grand Traverse Spa, resort and spa. I love to self-care. But like I said, Petoskey we found Petoskey stones when I went there. It was absolutely beautiful. Traverse City, just Front Street and just downtown Traverse City, there's nothing like it. I love Poppycock's.
Oh, yeah.
I love that restaurant.
So good. I ate there 2 nights ago.
Yeah, it's so good. It's such a good vibe. I love that. And then in Cadillac, I really just, for Cadillac, for me, it's the people. I love the people there. So.
And what's on your bucket list? Like, I'm sure everyone's like telling you, oh, you got to do this and that. So do you have a bucket list?
Well, we were just talking about the tree lighting that's happening coming up for the holidays in Traverse City. That's going to be really exciting. The Cherry Festival, I've never gone.
Oh, right.
I think we're going to cover that, so that'll be fun. I don't know, where do you think I should go?
Well, you know, I used to just come here for the summers, and then I did experience my first fall, winter, and spring. And each season is so special and just as fun and exciting as, you know, summertime. So it's like you've experienced this beautiful fall with the fall colors,
and then
are
gorgeous.
When it turns into a winter wonderland, and there's cross-country skiing and the holiday decorations, it feels like a Hallmark movie.
Yes, I can't wait for it all.
It's pretty magical. So I have to ask, because you are a newlywed, and this is the first time in an interview I'm talking about how I'm also engaged.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you. But do you have any advice for a bride-to-be?
Well, you know, my wedding was it was in the middle of COVID, right, basically. So we decided to, you know, my husband and I are big hams, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I thought our wedding would be this like big magical princess moment, but we just sat down one day and I asked for advice from other people, and just to keep everyone safe and keep the budget down, we ended up going to New Orleans, and it was going to be an elopement. And I told my mom, and then it ended up being like 35 people.
Oh.
But it was like a micro wedding. So then I'm learning more about these micro weddings. And I think that may be like the future of a lot of weddings. But all I can say is, like, if you feel yourself getting overwhelmed and stressed, like,
dial it back.
Live in that and be like, okay, I don't want to keep feeling this way, so maybe change it up. Don't overstress yourself just to make everyone else happy.
Sure.
Because all the older people that I've talked to don't even remember half of the people that was at their wedding.
Right.
And they didn't get to eat, you know, they were so stressed.
Sure. Okay.
So just remember, like, it's gonna be fun. Just, everything's fun.
Excellent
Try and have
advice.
fun.
Try. It's all about fun. That's great advice. And the question I love to ask everyone, especially to get to know them, is if you could have a drink with anyone, who would it be?
Ooh.
They could be dead or alive, but who would it be? What would you be drinking? Like, set the scene.
Friends, 1923. Audrey Hepburn. Yeah, I think Audrey Hepburn.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd love to just pick her brain, and the fact that she was just such a class act and such an advocate for children and for those that were, you know, she could have been, you know, she could have gone and lived her life as this rich celebrity and not given back and not, you know, but she's come through so much. She went through so much. I love Audrey Hepburn so much. So her, and of course Oprah. I know you got to meet Oprah, so that's awesome. But yeah, and I would
Definitely on the list, just sit down with one-on-one as well.
one-on-one. With Oprah, I think we'd have a beer. I don't know why. With Audrey, probably like, you know, cafe latte or something. But yeah.
Excellent answers. It sounds so fun. Well, it's been I love getting to know you. I'm so happy you're up here in Northern Michigan. We're going to have to get an off-the-record drink.
Yes,
And
yes.
we are just going to cheers again to you and
Cheers.
yeah, to your first winter coming up.
Thank you, and congrats again. On your
Oh,
wedding.
thank you.
That was fun. That's good? That was like 2 hours long.
Thanks for rolling.